While I was in high school, I had a really awesome job working security at a cemetery that was only a couple of miles away from my house. It was a great job while in high school, since it paid slightly more than minimum wage. However, I had to work the graveyard shift on the weekends. At first, I didn't mind the late shift since I never saw anyone after we closed. But also I got to stay in my truck and listen to the radio. The biggest and most important thing about all of this was at the time, I didn't believe in ghosts. The job was great for me since I got paid hourly to basically do nothing. However, my enthusiasm for my job slowly dissipated as a couple of events that I can't explain occurred, slowly turning me into a believer. The first thing that happened that I thought was really strange was this odd mist that would only come in during the nighttime. This made shining my flashlight around the dark cemetery all the more difficult. I wrote off the mist as just being the cold weather during the night, a rather simple explanation. There were parts of the graveyard that I would avoid at night, not that I was afraid or anything, but mainly because my radio didn't get that great of reception. It would seem I would always get a blend of two stations around this one tombstone, which I always thought was weird. It would be the only part of the graveyard that would do it. On the tombstone was the death date, June 6th, 2006. Or in other words, 666. I am not a superstitious person, but I always thought that was weird. The next thing that I noticed that I thought was weird were the lights. When I'm saying lights, I'm not referring to the lampposts inside the cemetery. I'm referring to actual lights that floated and hovered around the cemetery. At first, I thought they were these lightning bugs, but typically, those give off a greenish-yellow glow for a few seconds. These lights that I would sometimes see were white. Rather than dissipating after a few seconds, they lasted for a couple of minutes and moved very slowly. I wrote off this experience as a mixture between the mist that hovered in the graveyard and the passing cars that would sometimes pass by the cemetery throughout the night. This explanation didn't really hold up considering not that many cars drove by that late at night. The lights didn't scare me, they just made me uneasy. It was as if the alleged spirits of the graveyard were reminding me that I wasn't alone. The things that did scare me were the shadow people. I remember seeing my first shadow person. I thought that someone had broken into the cemetery. At this point in my security career, I didn't believe in the paranormal. Because of this, the only reasonable explanation that I could come up with was someone had broken in and that I needed to find them. I left my truck and chased after them, but I obviously ended up empty-handed, as well as a good distance away from my truck that I originally wanted to be. On my long and lonesome walk back from my frivolous pursuit, I thought I heard whispering all around me. Normally I would write this off as the wind in the trees, but I heard actual words, as well as my name. My full name. This obviously bothered me, and I spent the rest of the evening inside my truck. There was another time I was doing a patrol while I remained inside the safety of my truck, while listening to the radio. I was disoriented with all the mist and I hadn't realized I was near the 666 tombstone, and my radio went on the fritz. Instead of normally merging the two radio stations, I heard something very deep and growling coming from my radio. It told me the exact day I would die in a very demonic voice. This event wasn't nearly as scary, but a part of me is quite curious to see if this would be correct. Granted, this experience was probably just someone fooling around on the radio late at night, but you better believe me when I tell you I have the exact date written down, just in case.